Anything you ever seen, if you know what I mean, I got a baby water. I promise you never let me. 6 days for a better. There's something on my mind. I've been living so long. I've been walking around. I'm so glad now, 'cause I can see it's passing before me. Please come to sacrifice myself. I ain't got no money, but what I got is greater. Anything you ever see, if you know what I mean, I got the baby one. Promise you never let me. 6 days for the all I need is you in my life. To be peace of mind. Shalom is I need anything you ever seen. If you know what I mean, if you want I promise you, it's the Shabbat shalom, Mama Ray. Shabbat shalom, Facebook fam. Shabbat shalom to all my peoples out of YouTube. Shabbat shalom, better day. Shabbat shalom, luck, shining light. We'd like to welcome you to week 34 of the manifestation of the so-called black man, of the so-called African-American man. This afternoon, we'd like to give all praise and glory to Ahaya Bahashem Yeshaya, the precious Barak. And for those of you not familiar with the Hebrew, that is all praise to the Most High, in the name of Christ, as well as the Holy Spirit. We'd like to welcome each and every one of you to another episode of, to another opportunity to enter the Most High's presence. We know you could have been anywhere in the world, so due to the fact you decided to join us today, we do not take your time for granted. This man, come in for a second. For those who know us, Know that we are broadcasting live in our new location. I want you to turn around, let the people see the people. I want y'all to wave to the people on social media. Let the people on YouTube see. Get the most out some praise as you turn around. Everybody All right, we just wanted y'all to know, for those who sold into us and believed into us and prayed with us, this is what you help get. This is what you help bring to pass. So we want to thank the Most High for each and every one of you, for everything you've done to bring this thing to pass. And like I said before, I want to thank Better Day for all the hard work you guys done, whether it was sewing, volunteer, whatever you've done. This thing could not have came off the ground without you. So we're really excited about what the Most High is going to do here in the Waynesboro area. We're truly excited about what he's going to be doing in these local communities. But more importantly, we're excited about what he's going to be doing in each and every one of you. Because it starts out in each and every one of us. There can be no community change without no individual change. There can't be a community change without family change. Individual change leads to family changing. Family change leads to community change. All right? So each one of us plays a very important role in seeing our communities become better for the Most High. All right? I think that I don't really like the enthusiasm that's going on here this morning, please. This is our first Shabbat in our new venue. Can we get a little bit more excited? That's a little bit better. But let's go into our Hebrew Creed, and we're going to go straight into the word this morning, all right? For those who don't know it, you can find this in Deuteronomy 6th chapter, verse 4. Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya, Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad. Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya, Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad. Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya, Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad. Hear, O Israel.
Hear, O Israel.
The Lord our God is one.
The Lord our God is one.
God. All right. Now, how many of you have found yourself frustrated with what's been going on in the world the last 4 or 5 months? Anybody frustrated? That's good news. I'm glad Israel ain't frustrated. That's good. Now, it's a lot different going on in my inbox and my phones. I get a lot more going on there. People, maybe they don't want to say it publicly, but in my inbox and my phone, it's constantly ringing off the chain. But I'm glad to see Israel is at no stress. You don't feel overwhelmed. But that's not the case for everybody. A lot of people are nervous. They don't know what to do, and they feel as if everything is falling apart. And the truth of the matter is, that's not a bad thing. That's not a malicious thing to feel that way. Because there's a point in everyone's life when everybody has some sense of uncertainty, some level of stress, or whatever the case may be. We all have that from time to time. But what I want you to know, Israel, is that the Most High has made provisions in His Word to prepare us for those times. Let me ask you another question. How many of you guys are feeling tempted to chase the things of the world? It's good. That is definitely not the case with a lot of our people. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm preaching to the choir right now. I'm not telling you guys something that most of you don't know. But I need to say this for those who be watching with us via social media. That there's certain rise in the world saying Black Lives Matter and all these things. This is a trap. It is a trap. Because the enemy knows, listen, the enemy knew that this day of awakening was coming before we knew it. What you must understand, ladies and gentlemen, that everything you've seen in the last 4 or 5 months has nothing to do with a virus. It has nothing to do with a sickness. It has strictly to do with you. Okay. All of this, what you're seeing right now, ladies and gentlemen, is to alter, to hinder, and to upset the awakening that's going forth amongst Israel. It is to convince the Gentiles that they must be with the blacks and African Americans and not standing with Israel. It's to get people into a place in which they're arguing back and forth about things that don't matter versus focusing on the things that do matter. Simultaneously, you're also seeing new opportunities for money and wealth and stardom exploding all over the world. The last couple of weeks, my brothers have done put me on the things that I didn't even know existed. Where you can go on YouTube, put a camera in front of yourself, recording you eating food, and make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I didn't know that existed until like 2 weeks ago. Okay? I had no idea. Okay? Social media, even though we thank the Most High for it, because it has been a way that we've been able to touch many people around the world and the fellowship or whatever the case may be. But social media has turned into a web of deception, and it's creating all types of access to celebrity status, to money, and all kinds of things where a person could just simply overnight become a millionaire just by doing some type of anything. And because it's being what the world deemed as successful, people don't see anything wrong with these things. So today's lesson is entitled, ladies and gentlemen, thus says the Most High, be all you can be, or come follow me. Be all you can be, or come follow me. So he's telling you either you can go be all you can be in the world, or you can come follow me. But you can't do both. So today, I hope that through these precepts today, you're able to make a decision whether you want to be all you can be, or you're going to follow the Most High. Okay? So let's go to Matthew 11. What did I say? Let's go to Matthew 11. I need you to hold that and get Psalms 96. Nick, did you turn one on? Okay. Y'all cool? Hot up here. Hot. Yeah. Let's go to Matthew 11. I need you to hold that and get Psalms 96. Be all you can be, or come follow me. Thus says the Most High. And I want to make that clear. Let me put this out here for somebody trying to soundbite this on social media and make people say that I'm saying come follow me. I am not saying come follow Levant. That should be obvious, but you have to make that statement because people are taking and run with it. Okay. Don't follow me. Follow who I follow. His name is Yeshua. All right. Matthew 11. And Dick, let's start there at verse 25.
And at that time, Yeshua answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, the Most High of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent.
He said what?
Thou hast hid these things from the wise and the prudent.
So ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to be able to go to a university, okay? You're not going to be able to go to a theological school and get this wisdom and this understanding which the Most High has for us in these last days, okay? You're not going to be able to tune into a TED Talk, okay? There's no seminars on this, okay? These things have been hid from the wise and the prudent. Go ahead.
It has revealed them unto babes.
And has revealed them unto babes. Which means, ladies and gentlemen, you understand that when Yeshua was talking to the children, he said that we must come to him as a baby, which saying that a baby relies on their father and their mother for everything. They learn everything from their father and their mother. They don't learn it nowhere else. Okay? Everything that they need, their food, the resources, direction in life, everything comes from their parents. And Hamashiach said we must come to him in that same manner. So let me put it like this. You know those times when you're talking to your child, right? And you're telling them something to do and they're acting like they got more wisdom than you? You know how that angers you sometimes? Like when you try to warn them and they're like, yo, my dad, let's do it this way. I think this gonna work. And you're like, what? And then sometimes you get to the point where you just let them go ahead and fall off the cliff. Sometimes they gotta bump their head. But I'm gonna tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, in these last days, as these days are getting smaller and smaller, shorter and shorter, you don't got time for falling on your head because some of you ain't gonna get back up. You understand? Watch this, verse 26.
And so, Father, for so it seemed good in thy sight. All things are delivered unto me of my Father, right? And no man knoweth the Son but the Father.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the Most High has given all wisdom and all understanding to the Son. No one knows the Father like the Son. So if you don't have a relationship with the Son, you don't have a relationship with the Father. So I want to bring this out right now, Israel, that you better stop getting caught up in your own wisdom and your own strength. Everything that we're going to need in these last days must come through Hamashiach. Go ahead.
Neither know any man the Father save the Son. And he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him.
And he's going to do what?
And he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him.
So unless Hamashiach reveal it unto you, you're not going to know. Okay? Verse 28.
Come unto me.
Come to who?
Come unto me.
Come unto the elders.
Come unto me.
Come unto me.
All ye that are labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
And I will give you rest. Just imagine, ladies and gentlemen, with the way the world is stressed out right now, just think about our people, the so-called Black, so-called African-American community, with all the stress and the so-called pain and oppression that we are feeling. What if we truly made a decision to fully just release everything to Hamashiach? We would no longer be able to say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Read that again. It says what?
Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden,
right?
And I will give you rest.
And I will give you rest. Go ahead.
Take my yoke upon you.
Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. It's good to have elders. It's great to have pastors. But your learning need to be learning how he does this thing. And if you're seeing an inside of an elder opposite of what you see in Hamashiach, that means you have the wrong elder. You have the wrong witness. Watch this. Go ahead.
For I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your soul. For my yoke is easy.
For my yoke is easy.
And my burden is light.
Now, let's go to 1 Corinthians 8. I know. Yeah, so you don't have to. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 8. This right here keeps going to bring out more what I want to say. This. Forgive me. It's a lot. You used to it. Right? Let's go to 1 Corinthians 8. Shalom, man. Good seeing you on with us today. Shabbat shalom, Ladon. Good seeing you on with us today. 1 Corinthians 8. And let's start there at verse 5. Watch this.
But though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many.
There be gods many.
And lords many.
And lords many. Now, this statement right here, ladies and gentlemen, offends many people. When they say, I'm praying to God, or I'm following God, or I trust in God. And the Israelites say, which one? And people are offended by that because in the religion of Christianity, they're not being taught that. Read that again. It says what?
Will there be that are called God,
right?
Whether in heaven or in earth,
Uh-huh.
as there be gods many and lords many.
There be gods many and lords many. Hold your place there. Go to Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 17. Let me show you what I mean. If you know what I mean. Right? Because it's going to be very important, ladies and gentlemen, that you know which Yah you follow. It's going to be very important. Sirach 17, verse 17. Watch this.
For in the division of the nations.
For in the division of the nations. So when you go into Genesis 11, this is when there was at the Tower of Babel. The Most High, when he came down and scattered the nations, he split the tongues. Now we don't got time to go into all of that, but he split the nations into 70 different tongues, and he put 70 different angels over those nations. Go ahead.
Of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people.
He set a ruler over every people. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, in the Gentiles' religions, they serve multiple gods. This ain't no mythology here, ladies and gentlemen. The Romans served many gods. The Grecians, they served many gods. This is why in all their religions, you see multiple gods. Because the Most High put the angels over there. They are gods with the little g. But look at what he said with us.
But Israel is
But what?
But Israel
is the Most High's portion. Now, I wanted to show you that so you can see what Paul was actually talking about here. Right? Let's go back. 1 Corinthians 8. Read that verse 5 again.
For those there be that are called gods.
But there be those that are called gods.
Whether in
heaven
or on earth.
So the angels that remain with the Most High, that didn't go down with Satan, they're called gods as well. But the ones that are fallen angels, the third of the angels that went away, they're also called gods as well. And the nations look at them as their gods, whether you want to admit it or not. So when they come to our communities, ladies and gentlemen, and start their businesses and start their mosques and start their temples, they are praying to their gods in our communities. But when we're following their religions, we're following their gods. Why do you think the three major religions of this world, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, taught you not to follow the law? Because they know by you not following the law, you remain in bondage to their gods. Right? Watch this. Verse 6.
But to us there is.
But to who?
But to us.
But to us
there is but one God.
There but one Yah. The Father. And go ahead. And one Lord and one Master. Go ahead. Yeshua HaMashiach. Go ahead. Y'all see that? So this is who we follow. Our Yah is named Ahia. Our Lord is named Yeshua. That's it. And you must understand, ladies and gentlemen, that you have to be in that category or you're off. If you're following another holiday that's not in this Bible, you're serving other gods. If you're worshiping on a day that the Most High did not tell them to worship, you're serving other gods. It doesn't make no difference how you see it, what's in your mind. This is what thus says the Most High. Be all you can be, or come follow me. Thus says the Most High. Now, let's go to Matthew 16. I need you to hold that and get 2 Ezra 16. I want to announce to you, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to prove this through the scriptures, that what you guys are seeing right now with this economic turmoil that they got in the country right now, this is not about to last. And it's going to trick people. They're going to get caught up in a minute. So I wanted to bring this out because I want Israel to understand going forward that you're going to need to be focused on the plan and don't get sidetracked when all these opportunities come your way. Matthew 16, start at verse 21.
From that time forth began Yeshua to show unto his disciples how that he must go from Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again on the third day.
Mm-hmm.
Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Master, this shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan, thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of Yah, but those things that be of men.
Now, I wanted to start there, ladies and gentlemen, because there are going to be some people that's in your life, your family members, friends, people who love you. They're going to advise you, and they're going to try to encourage you to go in a direction opposite of what the Most High told you to go into. And you got to recognize, ladies and gentlemen, that even though they love you, even though they mean well by what they're saying, they're operating in the spirit of Satan if they're telling you to go opposite of what the Most High told you to go. And I know that may seem harsh, like, man, I'm gonna look at my mama, I'm gonna look at my brother, I'm gonna look at my sister and say, listen, you ain't gotta be like Hamashiach just said to their face. But you gotta understand, if the Most High told you to go right and they're trying to get you to go left, they're operating in the spirit that they don't know. Because he was trying to tell Hamashiach not to be crucified. Where would we be today if Hamashiach wouldn't have been crucified? It's over. There's no chance for Israel without that. So to Peter, that loved him, that didn't want to see him die, that was a bad thing. But to Hamashiach, it was the only option. And to some of you right now who are going forward in a new thing and get into a new dimension to your life, some of the people are not going to understand it. They're going to be critical of you. They're going to be upset with you. They're going to try to discourage you and talk you out of what you're called to do. And what did Hamashiach do to him? He says, what?
And he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan.
Get thee behind me, Satan.
For thou art an offense unto me. For thou savorest not the things that be of Yah, but those that be of men.
You're more focused on your own feelings right now, Peter. That's what he's telling you. You're not worried about the things that the Most High calls us to do. So when your family like self start running these guilt games on you, like, man, if you really love your family, you should be able to come by for Thanksgiving. Well, you're more focused on the things of man. I'm focused on the things of the Most High. Well, man, I don't understand, like, why you just can't go with us to the mall? We do that every Saturday. Well, you're focused on the things of man. I'm focused on the things of the Most High. Ladies, you're going to have some of these men that are going to come to you and start trying to inquire you to do things that the Most High don't say. Well, if you really love me, you would do this. If you really care for me, you would do this. No, when you focus on the things of man, I'm focused on the things of the Most High. And men don't think you're going to be escaped in this world. Your homeboy is going to try to talk you into things. He's going to try to encourage you to go outside of the things of the Most High. Go outside of things that's going to be for your family. You need to tell them, listen, you're focused on those things. I'm focused on the Most High. Be all you can be, or come follow me. Thus says the Most High. Watch this. Verse, what we at, B? Verse what? Verse 24?
Then Yeshua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me.
You got to deny yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Your plans is over. Okay? You don't have any more plans. That's over. I know that's tough. I've been dealing with it for 25 years. Trust me, I understand. But your plans is over. Your desires is over. If you want to be successful and protected. Now, if you don't want to be successful and protected, then you can do whatever you want to do. Read that again, Deacon says what?
Then said Yeshua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself.
Right.
And take up his cross and follow me.
Right.
For whosoever will save his life shall lose it.
So the person that is focused on saving their life, you're going to ultimately lose your life. You're trying to make sure you keep all of your things intact. Make sure your plan that you wrote out years ago, falls in line. You're going to lose what the Most High has for you. But go ahead.
Whosoever will lose his life for my sake.
But those who will lose his life and give up your own goals and desires for Hamashiach's sake, go ahead, shall find everything that he has for you. Go ahead.
For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world,
right,
and lose his own soul?
So what's going to happen at the end, ladies and gentlemen? When everything you wanted, you got, but then you realize the most important thing you lost, and that was eternal life. Be all you can be, or come follow me. Man, all these traps is in the world telling you to go chase these women. It's a trap. I don't understand how anybody can say they with the Most High and listen to music they call trap music. That's very, I don't understand. Trap music. I'm going to purposely take some headphones and put it to my ear, things that encourage me to do thus says the devil. But I'm going to have a mindset to do the most things of the Most High? Impossible. Chase a girl, pop a pill, Keep the law. Man, you're going to keep the law, all right? You understand? Be all you can be, or come follow me. Thus says the Most High. Go ahead.
What shall a man give in exchange for his soul?
What shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Do you know how priceless you are? Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you that the Most High sent his only begotten son to die for you. That's how priceless you are in his eyes. So what is it that the devil in the world can give you that can be more valuable than you? Ladies, I want you to be thinking about this when you start making decisions about some man. Because Hamashiach was willing to give his life for you. And this man ain't even willing to give up fornication for me. You better think about that. He ain't willing to give up fornication, but Hamashiach gave up his life. Which one you think loves you more? You better start thinking about these things. You better weigh these things out before you make these terrible decisions that's going to cost you everything. Now, let's go to our 2 Esdras 16. Let me prove to you, ladies and gentlemen, that what's coming across, that's coming down the pipe of this so-called second wave is a trap. And I want Israel to be warned. I want Israel to be aware of what is coming. Second Esdras 16. If you have a Sefer, that's going to be 4th Esdras. Let's go to 2 Ezra 16. And let's start there at verse 18.
The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting to see a little bit of that. We're starting to see famine. We're starting to see wars. We're starting to see plagues come upon the earth. But, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't seen anything yet. Okay, we are beyond yet to scratch the surface of what is coming. Okay, we're so far. We got so far to go in this thing of destruction, to take down what the Most High is about to do to the world. All of you seeing, ladies and gentlemen, before your eyes right now is a reboot of the system. I got the proof, the research to prove it. That Amalek and other powers, the world powers, begin to start doing surveys and research and seeing how this Israelite awakening has been taking place for the last couple of years. So as I said in the outset, ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing now is a desperate last chance for them to make sure that they can get as many of our people to die. That's all this is. You understand? Let me ask you a question. What if the news program came on every night and announced the people who died today from cigarette tobacco use? What would the numbers look like? Because I can guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, it is way more than the numbers of what they say corona. It's already been proven that those numbers have been exaggerated a lot. They've admitted that. Those numbers are really actually aligned with what flu deaths happens every year. So it will be the same thing, ladies and gentlemen, if they came on the news every day and told you this person died of the flu. It would be no difference. So do you think, ladies and gentlemen, if the news program took 4 months straight and promoted the deaths leading to tobacco use, you think people would stop smoking cigarettes? They wouldn't. But you see how so easily they was to conform to doing masks? And all these new words, social distance and all this madness? Because there has to be a boogeyman that people have to create in their minds. But yet it doesn't give them justification to change who they are as a person. I was driving by the other day. I told my brothers them that yesterday. I was driving by yesterday, the other day at the liquor house, our local liquor house. And I saw a man go into the liquor house with a mask on. My hand to the Most High. And I started to stop and ask the brother, I said, brother, what is it that you're more concerned with? That white liquor in there, the coronavirus. Because I'm guaranteed that white liquor that you drink probably could kill the coronavirus. I tell you that. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen it eat through styrofoam cups. I seen it, my hands to the Most High. I seen a man go into the local liquor house with a mask on. And I was thinking to myself, where are we at as a people, man? I'm seeing now that the news program are promoting and telling people that if you meet a new partner, wear a mask when you're having sex. Say, don't kiss no new people. wear a mask. Now, they're not telling you not to fornicate and break the Most High's law. No, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and do that. So when you go out, you meet somebody one night stand, make sure you wear a mask for protection. This is on the news. And you think I'm going to listen to you for anything when you're telling me, go break the Most High's law? Just wear a mask doing it. This is the world that we're in right now. So this has only begun. But this is what I need you to see. Verse 19, watch this.
Behold, famine and plagues, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a minute.
They're sent as what?
Sent as scourges for a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, this ain't the devil. I know those in the Christian church want to make it believe, oh, this is just the devil. No. They ain't got nothing to do with him. This is an amendment. What is an amendment? A change from what has been to what is coming. We know the Bible says in 2 Ezra 6, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is there, the one that follows. This is the takedown of one and the rise of the other. Watch this, verse 20.
For all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness.
Read that again.
For all these things.
But all of these things that are happening, they what?
They shall not turn from them.
They will not turn from their wickedness. Go ahead. No, but they're going to be mindful. They're going to be talking about it. But they're still not going to change. Are y'all seeing this? Watch this. Verse 22, 21.
Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth.
Now, that word victual, ladies and gentlemen, means food. See, what they're about to do, ladies and gentlemen, they're making it seem like everything is bad. Once the election is over, things are going to get really, really good. And whoever comes in January, they're going to have a sweet, sweet deal for you, right? Sweet deal. And people are going to get money. They're going to open up the bars again. All the college football and stuff is going to return. You're going to be able to go to the concerts. They're going to be cheap. You're going to go to the movies. They're going to be cheap. Food's going to be cheap. Everything's going to be good. Go ahead. And they're going to say, oh, we good now. America's going to be great again. Go ahead. And even then shall evil grow upon earth, because those few that started, kind of thinking, y'all done have some people come to y'all now. Oh man, it might be some truth to what you're saying, huh? My inbox been on fire since March. I'm talking about every day. Every day. The people that we've been talking to for years just had a conversation the other night. When people are coming to us and telling us that we've been telling people for 10 years. Like, man, I heard that. Oh, really? Me and my brother just looking at each other like, we've been telling you this for 10 years, but this one guy tells you this, now it's the gospel. Right? Go ahead.
And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion.
So why everybody's living it up? That's when the devil's going to continue to be coming through with the sword. And he's going to be killing us. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this thing of the schools being the way it is, it's been an inconvenience for you. Do not send your children back. I know it's been an inconvenience. And I know it's going to take some adjustment. But whatever you can do not send your children back. Because I'm telling you what's going to happen. Coming next year, they're going to have a cluster in the school. They're going to shut it down. And your kids, our kids, going to be the only ones there. And they're going to tell you, oh, man, you can't get to your kids because We got them quarantined. We're trying to protect the community. We can't let them go back home. Don't fall for the okie-doke, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, in Washington State, they already passed said only non-white students can go to school. Look it up if you think I'm playing. Think I'm making it up. Why would they say non-white students are the only one that can return? That's in Washington State. Why would they say that? When you hear words like minorities, disadvantage, that's talking about you. So you notice right now, even up in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, they're talking about, well, we're going to open it back up to the less advantaged. That means you. That's what that's talking about. Be careful. Be careful. And unfortunately, that's going to be a lot of our people screaming just like that. Right? Verse 22.
Many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall be sore destroyed. Hold on. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall be sore destroyed.
So, ladies and gentlemen, even though all these things are going to be cheap for a while, eventually the trucks are going to stop coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, the next few months, stock up. Get you some canned goods. Get you some non-perishables. While these things are cheap, take advantage of this opportunity now. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you have at least 2 weeks of food in your homes. That no matter what is going on, you are prepared. When it gets cheap, when it gets available, stock up now. Because eventually, the trucks will stop running. But those who escape the hunger, they're going to die by the sword. Because, ladies and gentlemen, all of this so-called Black Lives Matter that they're doing on TV, they're doing that to stir the pot up. So that the other nations will be mad at you. So that's why when somebody come up to you and say, you with Black Lives Matter, say, nah, I ain't black. Make sure you make that known. Nah, I ain't black. They're going to be confused. They're going to be like, what do you mean you ain't black? No, I'm not. You stand with Black Lives Matter? No, I don't. I stand with the Most High. Right? Where we at, D? Verse 23?
And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast out.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're not going to have to distort the numbers in a little bit. They're not going to have to make up numbers in a minute. It's going to be real death. You're going to see it. Be all you can be, or come follow me. That says the Most High. Watch this. Where we at, D? Verse 24.
There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it.
Now, let's go to Revelations 3. I need you to hold that and get to Hebrews 11. And after this, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into the testaments of Judah. We're going to look at our father Judah. Because Judah warned us about some things that's going to be coming down the pipe. We need to make sure that we are prepared. Recording still live. So let's go to Revelations 3. I need you to hold that and get Hebrews 11. Revelations 3. Juice. Pick that up. Be careful with the cord. Be careful with the cord. All right. Revelation 3, let's start at verse 8.
I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it.
Ladies and gentlemen, regardless of what everybody else is talking about you, regardless of how everybody feels about you, regardless of what they're saying about what you're doing and what you're not doing, Hamashiach says all the things that you're doing. He see you praying at night. He see you studying. He see you seeking him. He sees it. And he has opened up a door. And I don't care what they try, for those who stay with him, no man will be able to shut that door. Don't ever be discouraged by what they're doing. Because Hamashiach has promised us, he knows what we're doing. He knows we're committed to him. So he will not allow them to shut the door, gives access to him. Huh? Go ahead.
For thou hast a little strength, and has kept my word,
right,
and has not denied my name.
Because he understands that sometimes you get weary. But even in your hopeless situation, you still kept his name. You still stay strong and you continue to do the work. Go ahead.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan,
right,
which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet,
right,
and to know that I have loved thee.
Don't worry about the imposters. Okay, they're playing their part. Let them do what they do. Their time is ticking. You will never see the elders of Better Day Ministries worried about no so-called rabbi. You will never see it. Never. I said that last week in the feast day. That's just like me arguing with somebody about whether Lee Von Ingram is my daddy. You out of your mind. I would look like a clap fool arguing about somebody trying to prove that I'm my daddy's son. Well, that's how I feel about arguing with some so-called rabbi when my Hamashiach, my king, told me that call no man rabbi. That's what he said. So you think I'm going to argue with a man who's operating on a false name, and you are a false man, and you are an imposter? You think I'm going to go back and forth with who my heritage is, what my bloodline is, who my savior is? Or stop. Not doing it. Because he's already got them taken care of. So you don't need to spend no time worrying about an imposter. Verse 10.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience,
right,
I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation.
And he said, because we kept his patience, he's also kept us from this hour of temptation. This is the hour of temptation that we're in. The people want to be all they can be. They want to get as much money as possible. But because he has awakened us and showed us who we are, we're no longer with it anymore. We're no longer falling for the traps like we used to. This, and some of you may disagree with this. Some of you may not be here with this, but I am. I have arrived. A so-called white man calling me a nigger now means nothing. Because when I thought I was black, him calling me a nigger meant I thought that word was at that point was a derogatory word made to hate me, made to ridicule and talk down to me. Now that I know I'm an Israelite, what does the word nigga mean to me? I would laugh in the face of somebody calling me a nigga now. Oh, word? I'll look at him like, yo, you ready that Ciroc too? Talk about a nigger, right? That means nothing to me. That's a waste of time for somebody going back and forth on these buzzwords. That's racist. Buzzwords. I'm not concerned with that anymore. We got to move past that. The only people that are caught up in these things are people who don't know who they are. So when we come in the Democratic Party, people try to say, "Oh, so y'all with Trump?" What are you talking about, man? And then I asked the question, so what has Trump did to you? Well, you don't see all the racist tweets and stuff he be saying? Oh, that's destroying you, right? They don't even know about the real estate things that he's done to our people in New York and in California. They don't have any idea about that. You just worry about a speech and some tweets. We got to get this guy out of office. And you want to pick the super devil in there that's been destroying you for 60 years. If you want to know what the Democratic Party does for the community, look at it. Look at it. Look at your community. The Democratic Party is solely responsible for what you see. Debauchery, wickedness, sodomites, hatred, all of that. All of it. But they say, hey, man, yeah, we got to vote Democrat. You can. Let's see how this works out. Right? Where we at, D? Verse 11.
Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown.
Let no man take your crown. It's going to be your responsibility. Do not let anyone take your crown. Now let's go to Hebrews 11. Then we're going to go into the Testaments of Judah. Hebrews 11. And I started at verse 23.
By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment.
Parents, it is your responsibility to protect your children. Read that last part. He says what?
And they were not afraid of the king's commandment.
They were not afraid of the king's commandment. Do not use for an excuse that the fake prophet Fauci told you that the only way your children are going to be safe is they got to get a vaccine. Do not let them put that needle in your child. These guys are liars and devils. What do you expect them to do? You cannot be worried about the king's command. Fathers, you must protect your families. You can't protect your families out there running and gambling in the streets, chasing your own flesh, playing games. You can't be worried about the king's commandments. You have to protect the children. Verse 24.
By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
It's time, ladies and gentlemen, that you must refuse the title of African American. This is not who you are. Moses said, I'm not the son of Pharaoh's daughter. I have nothing to do with this. And Moses had a whole lot more at stake than we did. Watch this, verse 25.
Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Yahweh.
He said, I'm choosing rather to suffer what? Affliction
with the people of Yahweh. And to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season.
Are y'all seeing this? So let me talk to those who are watching via social media, who may be on the edge of saying, I'm going to go fully into my heritage, into my identity, and operate as an Israelite, but you still got one foot in the Christian church. And the devil's season is upon us with his holidays. And some of you right now are saying, well, hey, man, you know, I'll come out in January, full steam ahead. New year, new me, but it ain't the new year anyway. That's another lesson for another time. So I'm going ahead and putting it out there right now. And some of you know, you got it in your mind right now. Well, in January, I'm going to start a new leaf. I'm going to celebrate Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas one more time. I'm going to get it out of my system. I'm going to get one more in. Hold your place there. Give me John 4:17. Let me put this out here for those who already know the truth. Now, those who may be watching this video in the future, you may see this for the first time. This is the first time you ever heard this stuff. This has nothing to do with you. There's a growth process. There's a growth process for you. Hit us up. We'll help you along the way. I'm talking to those right now who know better, who's making up all these excuses to continue to do what they want to with their flesh. James 4:17. Bring it out. I'm sorry, Salaki. I'm sorry. James 4:17. Bring it out.
Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good,
But him that knoweth to do good
and doeth it not,
to him it is sin. You can't say, hey, listen, I know that this is wrong, but I'm just gonna keep on doing it. Nah, I'm gonna make my family happy one more time. Nah. We're gonna do it big this one last time. Nah. Read that again. It says what?
Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good,
Him that knoweth to do good
and doeth it not,
to him it is sin. This is sin. Give me Acts 17:30. Watch this. Yeah. Also popping off the wheel. Acts 17:30, bring it out.
In the terms of this ignorance, Yah winked at.
At the time of this ignorance, ladies and gentlemen, he winked at it. There was a time we didn't know any better, and he winked at our ignorance. Go ahead.
But now commandeth all men everywhere to repent.
But now you what?
Commandeth all men.
He commanded all men everywhere to repent. Do y'all notice, ladies and gentlemen, that every time you're having a conversation with people, and you telling them about what they need to do and what they need to change, they always bring up grandma. What are you talking about? Why are we talking about grandma? Why are you talking about people who died 100 years ago? I'm talking to you right here, right now, and you talking about what mama and them used to do. What does that have to do with it? He winked at our ignorance when we didn't know any better, but now we are awakened and he has released this truth. You can't go on the ignorance of our ancestors and use that as justification to continue to break the law. So you telling me my grandma in hell? No, I'm saying you're going if you don't change. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not talking about your grandma. I'm not talking about your grandmother. I'm talking about you. Oh, it's crazy. Why are we talking about grandma? Grandma lived way older than you. She just didn't know nothing better about Christmas and Thanksgiving. She won't fornicate like you, homeboy. What are you talking about? Grandma's gone. I'm talking to you. Right? Let's go back to Hebrews 11. Read that verse 25 again.
Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Yah,
right,
than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, do you realize that the pleasure of sin is only for a season? We're going to get into a minute when we go into Judah, testaments of our father Judah. He's going to be warning us about fornication. And ladies and gentlemen, we know what fornication has done to our community. I want to bring this out today because everybody caught up in that moment of what it feels like. And now thinking about the repercussions that come years on down the road. We're going to bring this out today because Israel needs to understand what is at stake here. Right? Verse 26.
Esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand the depths of what Paul is saying there? Paul said that Moses looked at the reward that was going to come from Hamashiach, which was not going to be received in his lifetime, greater than all of the wealth that he already had in his hand. Do you understand that? has him operating as Pharaoh's son. He had everything. And he said, I'm going to put that to the side for what I'm going to get when I make it to the kingdom. That's another conversation that we always keep having to have with people. When we telling them about who we are, everybody keeps talking about so this is going to get us, economic stability. It's just going to get us money. This is going to get us houses. What? We're worried about things that are superficial.
That's right.
Matter of fact, to build on that, let me get Mark 11. Mark 10, Salaki. Because I don't want to put out there as if, all right, he doesn't say bring it out. Y'all know y'all in trouble. What's he say? Do say bring it out. It's over. Because I don't want this misconception out there is that the Most High don't want his children blessed. Because no, we're not living in that poverty state, mind. I don't want you to say that you can't have nothing. I want that to be clear. So let's clear that up, just in case that there may be a misunderstanding out there. Let's go to Mark 10. Right? Give me start at verse start at verse 23.
And Yeshua looked round about and said unto his disciples, how hardly shall they that have riches enter into the kingdom of Yah?
So he said, listen, how hard is it for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of Yah? Go ahead.
And the disciples were astonished at his words.
They were shocked because contrary to what Christianity teaches, disciples weren't no poor people. The guys had their own boats. They was balling. Matthew was a tax collector. These boys was on one. Don't be fooled by that stuff we see on TV. These boys had money. Read that again. He said they were what?
And the disciples were astonished.
They were astonished
at his words. But Yeshua answered again and said unto them, children, how hard is it for them that trust in riches?
Now he reiterated and said, how hard is for them who trust in riches
to enter into the kingdom of Yah.
See that? So it's not about having it, because the rich young ruler, if you go back and read it at the top of the chapter, the rich young ruler had money. And the rich young ruler had been keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Problem is that he was trusted in his riches more than he was trusted in the Most High. That was the problem. Watch this, verse 25.
It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of Yah.
Now, let me explain what this means, because most people who don't know historically what this means, they miss what Hamashiach was saying here. When you go into a city, ladies and gentlemen, they would have the eye of the needle. That eye of the needle was that one place that a man could walk through. But then they had the other part of the gate where they could open in for a person with camels and all kind of storage and luggage, when they was traveling in boat, for them to bring it in. So Hamashiach saying, it's easier for a camel to get through that little one walk space to get into the city than it is for a rich man who trusted his riches to get into the kingdom. So let me ask you a question. What does the camel have to do in order to get through there? What do they got to do? They have to take all of their stuff off. They have to remove everything from the world in order to get through that straight gate that he was telling us about in Matthew 7. So you can't walk in this world way down with the burdens of life. You got to remove those things, get in, and then everything you need is in the gate. What's that properties? Mm-hmm. You talking about in 2 Edges 7? Mm-hmm. 2 Edges 7, it says that narrow way that only one man can get it at one time. It's so narrow. It got fire on one side, got water on the other side. It's so narrow, you got to make it in one way. You can't come in there with a load. The 2 Edges 7. So this is what Hamashiach is saying. Listen, it's not about not having it. It's about putting priority and putting things in perspective. Watch this. Go ahead, verse 26.
And they were astonished out of measure.
They were stunned. They're like, man, dang, man, this is crushing right now. Go ahead.
Saying among themselves, who then can be saved?
Who can be saved? Because listen, that lets you know that nobody they knew was poor. Dang, they knew everybody had money. They're like, man, so who gonna be saved then? Because all of us got money. And look at how he explains it, how he breaks it down.
Yeshua looking upon them said, with men it is impossible, but not with Yah. For with Yah all things are possible.
Y'all see that? So Hamashiach said, listen, if you try to do this thing on your own, you're not going to make it. But he said, if you come through me, it's possible for you to make it. Then he breaks it down even further. Go ahead.
Then Peter began to say unto him, lo, we have left all and have followed thee.
He said, look, man, we left everything, man. We left everything to follow thee. But look at how he responds.
And Yeshua answered and said, verily I say unto you, there is no man that has left house, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands for my sake and the gospel's, but he shall receive 100-fold now at this time.
He's going to receive it when?
Now in this time.
Are y'all seeing this? So the Most High Mashiach is saying, listen, if you put up everything for me, and you put it to the side for me, I will make sure you get 100-fold in this life. So I wanted to make sure that it's clear, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to have to live this poverty state here. That is not what he's saying. What he's saying is this: if you put all these things to the side for me, then I will give you everything. But if you chase everything, I will give you nothing. Go ahead.
He shall receive 100-fold now in this time.
Right.
Houses and brethren.
And sisters.
And mothers. And children. And lands with persecutions in this world to come, eternal life.
Y'all see that? And because some of you can attest to this. Some of you done lost some family members that don't want to rock with you now because you're in this truth. Some of you done lost friends now because you're in this truth. But then you gained a whole nother family when you came into the truth. Did it not? You got brothers and sisters all over the world now that rock with you, that love you because you're in this truth, that you didn't even know existed prior to being in this truth. Go be all you can be, or come follow me. Now, shalom, Sister Stephanie, good seeing you over today. Now, let's go into our Father. I know you guys may not have this. We're going to go into his testaments of the patriarchs. The 12 patriarchs, ladies and gentlemen, our fathers, they wrote, if you go into Genesis 49, right, Jacob on his dying bed, he left some final words to his sons. Well, in the same manner, each one of the sons, as they were dying, they left a testament to their children. And I want to show you some things here about our father Judah. And also to inform you of the things that he warned us with. Now I'm going to start in the beginning of here because I want you to see very clear here that Judah had to be a black man. You're going to see some things in here that's going to resonate with you very well. Watch this. This is the testament of Judah, the fourth son of Jacob and Leah. Chapter 1, verse 1.
The copy of the words of Judah, what things he spake to his sons before he died. They gathered themselves together, therefore, and came to him, and he said to them, hearken, my children, to Judah your father. I was the fourth son born to my father Jacob, and Leah my mother. Named Leah my mother, named me Judah, saying, I give thanks to the Lord because he given me a fourth son also.
Now, you also know that another definition of Judah means praise. It's very confusing to me that a lot of our people feel like praise and worship is not an important aspect of their life. And I'm not talking about what you do on the Shabbat. I'm talking about what you do every day. If Judah's name is praised, how do we feel like we're not supposed to praise and worship the Most High? That's very concerning to me. Right? Go ahead.
I was swift in my youth,
Right?
and obedient to my father in everything.
Mm-hmm.
I honored my mother and my mother's sister. And it came to pass when I became a man that my father blessed me, saying, "Thou shalt be a king, prospering in all things."
Now, notice here that he says that I obeyed my mother and my father in everything, and my mother's sister, which was his aunt, talking about Rachel. Is that going on in our community now? And as a result of him obeying his mother and father, what was the blessing that he got?
And when I became a man, my father blessed me, saying, "Thou shalt be a king, prospering in all things."
So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason that Judah lion was chosen to bear Hamashiach is because he obeyed his mother and his father. But yet, in our communities now, children are disobedient and it's being celebrated. People are going on these talk shows and airing out dirty laundry. And many of you women are tuning into it every day. How is that entertainment? To see the denigration of a family. How is divorce court entertainment? If anybody knows, just help me out. How can we watch videos of people doing all kind of negative and terrible things, and it's being celebrated? This thing concerns me. You cannot become a king or a queen unless you honor the king and the queen of your own home. And this is why we're seeing all these terrible things in our community, because people are no longer obeying their parents anymore, and the household's destroyed. Now, we know why the household's destroyed. That's another conversation for another time. But the problem is that even though it's destroyed, that doesn't mean that you're supposed to honor your mother and your father. And if you're on time, you need to go into reading Sirach 3 when it talks about obeying your mother and your father. This doesn't come with a stipulation if they were good to me. No, you're supposed to honor them regardless. Watch this. Verse 2, go to chapter 2, verse 1.
And the Lord showed me favor in all my work,
right,
both in the field and in my house.
Right.
I know that I raised a hind and caught it,
right,
and prepared the meat for my father, and he did eat.
Mm-hmm.
And the roes I used to master in the chase, and overtook all that was in the plain.
Now I'm just bringing this out to show you the athletic ability of Judah. It's not a coincidence that the so-called black man is the greatest athlete on earth. You see, Judah's right here talking about I'm running down deers and catching them. I just want to make this thing relatable. Watch this. Go ahead.
A wild mare I overtook and caught it and tamed it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lion and plucked the kid out of his mouth.
Right.
I took a bear by its paw and hurled it down a cliff.
Now, so it's like it. When you go into 1 Samuel 17, don't you hear David talking about he did the same thing? And David is in the line of Judah. I want y'all to see this. I want it to be more relatable so you can see all these great things that we possess. It came from our fathers. And if you're not using these things to honor your fathers, you're dishonoring the Most High. We were never supposed to be using these things to make all the Gentiles rich, and the rest of the communities just go on in poverty. People have been taught, like, go off, make millions of dollars, you go out and buy all these houses and cars, and then you come back and do a football camp or a basketball camp. They're like, yo, man, that guy really gave back. Really? Because you live somewhere else, you spend your money somewhere else, you live completely outside of the way your community lives, But you go back into a camp or you donate it to a YMCA and people are like, oh man, that guy's really giving back. That's not giving back. That's not giving glory to the Most High for what he's given us. Watch this, go ahead.
I took a bear by its paw and hurled it down a cliff.
Right.
It was crushed. I outran the wild boar and seized it as I ran. I tore it asunder. A leopard in Hebron leaped upon my dog, and I caught it by the tail and hurled it on the rocks, and it was broken in twain. I found a wild ox feeding in the fields and seizing it by the horns and whirling it around and stunning it. I cast it from me and slew it.
Now, I just want to give you can read that in your own time. For sake of time, we need to move a little bit further. Let's go to chapter 9. Let's go to chapter 8. I need y'all to see this. Let's start at chapter 7. Yeah.
And the next day it was told us that the king of the city of Ganesh with a mighty host was coming against us. I, therefore, and Dan feigned ourselves to be Amorites, and as allies we went into their city.
So this city came upon. Now, when you get a chance, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to go in there and read these things on your own time, because what you're going to see is, ladies and gentlemen, that there's a lot more things that went on than what we see in Genesis. There was a lot of people coming against our people in the time that we were in Canaan and in Egypt. And the 12 tribes was fighting these nations by themselves. No armies. So you're seeing here now that this whole host of soldiers came up to try to take them out. Dan, his brother Dan, and Judah goes in disguised as if he's somebody else. Go ahead.
And as allies went into their city,
right?
And in the depth of the night, our brethren came and we opened to them the gates,
right?
And we destroyed all the men and their substance.
It was just their brothers. Okay, there's only 12 of them. These are thousands of men. This is the power that our people have when we're with the Most High. Go ahead.
And we took for a prey all that there was there. Right. And their 3 walls were cast down, and we drew near Thamana, where all the substance of the hostile kings. Then being insulted by them, I was therefore wroth, and rushed against them to the summit, and they kept slinging against me stones and darts.
Right.
And had not Dan my brother aided me, they would have slain me.
Now, I'm bringing all these things out because this is another attribute of the so-called black man. It's temper. Always feeling as if somebody disrespects you, you got to go all the way out to redeem yourself. How many people of our people right now are in jail or dead over this? This was all over Nisso. He ran up against all these men by himself, and if it wouldn't have been for his brother Dan, he would have died. No Judah, no Hamashiach. I'm bringing this out, ladies and gentlemen, because today's title is entitled, Be All You Can Be or Come Follow Me. Your life is not your own. There are people depending upon you being in your purpose. And when you're out here taking your life for granted, doing you, you're hurting those who are coming after you. Are y'all seeing this? Watch this, go ahead.
We came upon them, therefore, with wrath, and they all fled. And passing by another way, they besought my father, and he made peace.
He said, oh, yeah. Now they got to go to Jacob's like, listen, best thing supposed to do is have peace. Your sons is wild. Okay, go ahead.
And we did to them no hurt, and they became tributary to us, and we restored to them their spoil. And I built Thamnah, and my father built Pelel. I was 20 years old when this war befell, and the Canaanites feared me and my brother.
You're only 20 years old. Are y'all seeing this? Watch this. Go to chapter 8, verse 1.
And I had much cattle, and I had for chief herdsman Aram the Adullamite. And when I went to him, I saw Herseba, king of Adullam, and he spake unto us, and he made us a feast. And when I was heated, he gave me his daughter Bathsheba.
Now, you got children in here. So I'm gonna make this, discreet as possible. When he talks about I was heated, he won't talk about he was mad. In the words they like to say in the hood now, he was feeling some type of way. If you know what I mean. We're not gonna defame the Sabbath. So when the man done gassed him up, poured him that wine, he down here dealing with people that he's not supposed to be dealing with. Once he saw that he was ready, look at what he did.
And when I was heated, he gave me his daughter Bathsheba to wife. She bare me and Onan and Shelah. And two of them the Lord smote, but Shelah lived, and his children are ye.
You see that? Now I'm going to take you over and find out why two of those sons were killed. But I want to pause here for a second, ladies and gentlemen, to let you understand that everybody's showing you a good time. It's not for your benefit. You got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that there's some places you don't need to be. There are some people that you don't need to be partaking with. And just because it seems good and they're showing you love, you think that this is a good thing, not realize what's going to be the consequences of this decision. Now, for sake of time, let's go to chapter 10, verse 1.
And after these things, my son took wife Tamar from Mesopotamia, a daughter of Aram. Now was wicked.
Now his sons is wicked because he done got with these wicked people. Now his son is wicked now. Some of you are asking, why are my grandkids the way they are? They ain't the way we were raised. Well, it's because they saw wickedness growing up. And as Bill Cosby said, now you're old trying to get into heaven, you trying to change your life, but not realizing what you taught them your entire life. Now you ask yourself, why am I having all this problem changing? Because they're not going to do what you say, they're going to do what you do. So parents, you need to understand, you have a responsibility to live righteous and holy in front of your children and make righteous and holy decisions, because if you don't, you are destroying your generation. This is what our father Judah tried to warn us of. Watch this, go ahead.
Now was wicked, and he was in need concerning Tamar,
right?
Because she was not of the land of Canaan.
Now, his wife, the one that he married, Judah married, was mad that took a wife that was not of the Canaanites. But if you do your research, you'll understand that we were never supposed to be dealing with Canaanites. That's why when it was time for Isaac to get a wife, they went back to their land to get Rebekah. When it was time for Jacob to marry, they went and sent him to rape where his uncle Laban was at. But Esau did what? Took wives of the Canaanites and went off. And Judah seen all of this, but yet because he was drunk and hanging with the wrong crowd, he made a decision contrary of how he was supposed to be living. Now he got a wicked wife that are raising wicked children, and he's wondering how he got here. He's going to break all this down in a minute. Go ahead.
And on the third night, an angel of the Lord of the Most High smote him, and he had not known her according to the evil craftiness of his mother.
Y'all see that? Because he taught her, Judah's son, mother, taught them into not having relations with his wife, because she wanted him to get another wife. And the Most High sent the angel and smoked them. All this death that we see in our community, ladies and gentlemen, is because of disobedience. Yes, ma'am. We're in Testament of Judah, chapter 10, chapter 10, verse 3. Go ahead. Now, verse 5 now.
According to the evil craftiness of his mother, for he did not wish to have children by her. And the days of the wedding feast I gave Onan to her in marriage, and he also in the wickedness knew her not.
See that? So he gave the woman to the next son, listening to his wicked mama. He wouldn't know her either. So look at what happened. Go ahead.
Though he spent with her a year, and when I was threatening him, he went in unto her, but he spilled the seed on the ground, according to the command of his mother. And he also died through wickedness.
Now, some of y'all remember this story in Genesis, but you didn't know all this, what happened. When the Most High says something, ladies and gentlemen, he's not changing. You cannot allow your family members to tell you to do something outside of what the Most High said. So that's how Judah lost 2 sons, by marrying a wicked woman. Are y'all seeing this? Watch this. Verse 6.
And he also died through his wickedness. And I wished to give Selah also to her, but his mother did not permit it. For she wrought evil against Tamar, because she was not of the daughters of Canaan, as she also herself was.
See that? So he was going to give his next son to him, but the woman wouldn't let him do it. And all because she had beef with him, because she wasn't a Canaanite. Basically, because she wasn't wicked like she was. Now, go to chapter 11, verse 1.
And I knew that the race of the Canaanites was wicked.
Read that again.
And I knew that the race of the Canaanites were wicked.
He said, I knew that the race of the Canaanite was wicked.
But in the impulse of youth blinded my mind.
But the impulse of my youth blinded my mind. I'm bringing this out, ladies and gentlemen, because we got to stop calling it just being moved by the eyes, moved by your emotions, moved by the popularity of the time. These things got to go out of the door. Go ahead.
And when I saw her pouring out wine, owing to the intoxication of wine, I was deceived.
So he saw when she was coming in pouring up for him. Pouring for him. Look like she taking care of him. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you. This is a trap. You got to be careful, ladies and gentlemen. The enemy walks in very crafty counsel. All right, go ahead.
I was deceived and took her, although my father had not counseled it. And while I was away, she went and took for Selah a wife from Canaan.
Y'all see that? So he took this woman as a wife, even though his father told him not to marry her. How many of you are in situations right now where your mama and your daddy told you not to do it, you did it anyway? How's that working out for you? Okay, go ahead.
And when I had knew what she had done, I cursed her in the anguish of my soul. And she also died through her wickedness together with her son.
So the Most High ended up taking her out as well. Let's see. Try verse 13. I'm trying to get through most of this. Let's go to chapter 13. Yeah. Chapter 13, verse 1.
And now I commend you, my children, Hearken to Judah your father, and keep my sayings, to perform all the ordinances of the Most High,
right?
and to obey the commands of Yah,
Right?
and walk not after your lusts,
Walk not after your lust,
nor in the imaginations of your thoughts,
nor in the imagination of your thoughts,
and haughtiness of heart,
right?
and glory not in the
And
deeds.
glory not in your deeds. This was a problem that Judah had. He was arrogant. He was very prideful. Don't we see that amongst Judah? We always got to brag. We always got to go live. We always got to flex. Judah was so caught up in how he could win wars and fight all these people, he bragged about it. He loved it. He got caught up in himself. And him being caught up in himself led him to make a lot of bad decisions. So he warned us to listen, don't get caught up in yourself. Don't get caught up in the things of your mind. You got to follow the law of the Most High. Go ahead.
And glory not in the deeds and strength of your youth.
Right.
But this also is evil in the eyes of the Most High.
And that's another thing. We get caught up in the things that we can do well as we're young. And then we start saying this life gonna be like this always. It's not. It's not. It's gonna run out. You're gonna find yourself dealing with the repercussions of your decisions. Go ahead.
Since I also glory that in the wars no comely woman's face ever enticed me,
Right.
and reprove Reuben my brother concerning Bilhah.
Now, he said, basically, this is what Judah said, listen, I can get any woman I want. And I didn't learn from the mistake of my older brother, Reuben. Reuben made a mistake. Go ahead and explain what he did.
Reuben,
Yeah, I'm talking about reading what he said. Explain.
Reprove Reuben my brother concerning Bilhah, the wife of my father. The spirit of jealousy and fornication arrayed themselves against me.
So what happened was, he got caught up in his own self. He was walking in pride, and he didn't learn from Reuben, because Reuben looked at Bilhah how fine she was, and he just made a terrible decision and destroyed his life. Now you would think he see how, being caught up in a woman's beauty would destroy him. He would not make that same decision. He made even worse decisions. And this is the problem, ladies and gentlemen, because we're not learning. You would think in our communities, with all of the death and deprivation and desolation that we see, we would start saying, like, man, we shouldn't go that same route. But we end up going the same route. How is it, ladies and gentlemen, that our OG, the person that we give the titles of OG, that spent the majority of their life in prison, has more influence than a pastor? How is it that a man that got baby mamas scattered around the city got more love than a man that has one wife and all his children in the same home? How is it that a woman that's walking around showing her body all in public social media, wherever she can go, has more encouragement and is celebrated by men more than the modest women of our community? But it's as if we hadn't learned from the mistakes of our people. And we continue to repeat them over and over again. Watch this, go ahead.
Fornication arrayed themselves against me until I lay with Bashua the Canaanite and Tamar, whom was a spouse to my son.
Right.
Well, I said to my father-in-law, I will take counsel with my father, and so I will take thy daughter. And he was unwilling, but showed me a boundless store of gold in his daughter's behalf.
Now, I need to break that down here, because we skipped some parts for a second time. Judah ended up being with his daughter-in-law. Let me tell you how that happened. Judah went to a town, walked into town, seen this woman at the gate. This man gave up his staff, he gave up his diadem, he gave up all of these precious things of his family to spend one night with a woman. Now, if this woman hadn't been Tamar, his line would have been destroyed. Men, how many of you don't put it on the line, rolling the dice for one night? We don't know how Grace done kept us, man. Rolling the dice for one night, not realizing what could come from this. And then what makes it so bad, Judah was going to kill the woman, but he found out who she was, and he couldn't touch her. Now he exposed. He exposed now. Everybody knows what he has done. He didn't learn. This is what Judah, he's laying it all out for us. He didn't take counsel from his father, and he still went and married this wicked woman. Now look at what led him to marry this wicked woman. Start back there at that part where he says, and he was unwilling, but he showed.
And he was unwilling, but he showed me boundless store of gold in his daughter's behalf.
So the man offered Judah a lot of money. Go ahead.
For he was a king, and he adorned her with gold and pearls, and caused her to pour out wine for us at the feast with the beauty of women. Mm-hmm. And the wine turned aside my eyes.
And the wine turned aside my eyes.
And pleasure blinded my heart.
And pleasure blinded my heart. Are y'all seeing this? Go ahead.
And I became enamored of, and I lay with her and transgressed the commandment of the Most High.
He said, I became enamored, meaning the armor and protection that the Most High had on me, I took it off. I removed it. He took it off and transgressed the law. He went against everything he known because of wine, because of fornication, because of his own fleshly desires. Look at our community, ladies and gentlemen. Is not our community a result of our people doing this? Why do you think, ladies and gentlemen, that the rap videos are designed the way they are? It is to plug this into our head over and over and over. The majority, 95 to 97% of the stuff in those videos, those people don't even own. Those cars and those houses, they don't even own it. To make you think this is the life that they're living. And you go and chase, our people go and chase this life as if it's something good. Who own the rap companies? Who's the manager for all these rappers? Who own the media outlets? Think about it. This is why they want you to see this. Now, go down to chapter 14. We're trying to get through this real quick.
And now, my children, I say unto you, be not drunk with wine.
Be not drunk with wine.
For wine turneth the mind away from the truth.
Right? Hold on. Read that again.
For wine turneth the mind away from the truth.
For wine will turn the mind away from the truth. Go ahead.
And inspires the passion of lust.
And inspires the passion of lust. And leadeth the eyes into error. Are y'all seeing this? Go ahead.
For the spirit of fornication have wine as a minister to give pleasure to the mind.
Read that again. Listen to what he said.
For the spirit of fornication.
For the spirit of fornication
has wine as a minister.
Has wine as a minister. That does what?
To give pleasure to the mind.
To give pleasure to the mind. It uses the wine as a minister to bring forth its desire in you. Where does the spirit of fornication come from? Does it come from Satan? You see that? Go ahead.
For these two also take away the mind of man.
Mm-hmm.
For if a man drink wine to drunkenness, it disturbs the mind with filthy thoughts leading to fornication. And heateth the body to carnal union. And if the occasion of the lust be present, he worketh sin and is not ashamed.
Now he worketh sin, he ain't not even ashamed. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, We brag about our sin now. We go live and tell everybody we're sinning. We used to try to be in the closet. We didn't want people to know what we were doing. Now we take the pictures. We post them ourselves. We're no longer ashamed now. We brag about being disobedient. We boast about breaking the Most High's law. Are y'all seeing this? Our Father tried to warn us of this, and we didn't listen. Go ahead.
Such is the inebriated man, my children. But he who is drunken reverence no man.
He that is drunken reverence no man.
Although it made me also err, so that I was not ashamed of the multitude in the city.
Right.
And that the eyes before of all I turned aside unto Tamar.
Right.
And I wrought a great sin. And I uncovered the covering of my son's shame.
Right.
After I had drunk wine, I reverenced not the commandment of Yah.
Right.
And I took a woman of Canaan to wife.
Right.
For much discretion needed the man who drinketh wine, my children. And herein is the discretion in drinking wine. A man may drink so long he preserveth modesty.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he preserveth modesty. But if he go beyond this limit, the spirit of deceit attacketh his mind. And it maketh the drunkard to talk filthy. And to transgress and not to be ashamed.
To sin and don't even be ashamed about it. This is the so-called black man. This is the so-called African American community. Right now. Go ahead.
But even to glory in his shame and to account himself honorable.
Hold on. Read that last part.
But even to glory in his shame.
He glories in his shame.
And to account himself honorable.
And count himself as honorable. I'm telling you, the more fornication I do, I'm bragging about it, and now I'm going to get glory from you. How did we get here? How did we get here, ladies and gentlemen? Our Father's going to tell us. Verse 15, chapter 15, verse 1.
He that committeth fornication is not aware when he suffers loss.
He's not even aware when he suffers loss. When we're doing these things, and this, ladies and gentlemen, also corresponds with spiritual fornication as well. When we're serving under God, you're not even aware of the loss that you're doing. When you're doing these things because of tradition, you're not even aware of what you're giving up when you're not keeping the holy days. You're not even aware of it. Go ahead.
It is not a shame when put to dishonor.
Right.
But even though a man be a king and commit fornication,
right,
he is stripped of his kingship by becoming the slave of fornication.
Y'all see that? He said, Judah's a king, but fornication leads you to be stripped of your kingship because you become a slave to it. Go ahead.
As I myself also suffered, for I gave my staff.
That
is the stay of my tribe. My girdle, that is my power, and my diadem, that is the glory of my kingdom. And indeed I repented of these things. Wine and flesh I eat not until my old age.
Y'all see that? Judah said, I so repented that I don't even drink wine. I don't even eat meat no more. He said, I gave it all up. I repented. There's a lot more, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go into this, but let's go to chapter 17, verse 1. I need to bring that part out to you real quick. There's so much we need to bring out of here.
And now I commend you, my children, not to love money,
right,
nor to gaze upon the beauty of women,
right,
because for the sake of money and beauty, I was led astray to Bashur the Canaanite.
Y'all see that? Chapter 17, verse 1. Read that again.
And now I commend you, my children, not to love money.
Not to love money.
Nor gaze upon the beauty of women.
Right, that's men too.
Because for the sake of money and beauty, I was led astray to Bashur the Canaanite.
Y'all see that? He said, I would have never been in this place if it wasn't for the love of money. If he said, if I love y'all more than I love money, I would have never ended up here. Now, how many decisions have we made based on money? When the Most High was telling us to go here, it looked like it was less money here, But it was like, was more money over here. We went and called out the money and said, well, the Lord won't even be blessed. And then as soon as you got there, that well dried up real quick, didn't it? Real quick. Go ahead.
For I know that because of these two things, my race shall fall into wickedness.
Read that again.
For I know that because of these two things.
Because I know because of these two things.
Shall my race fall into wickedness.
Y'all see that? Our father Judah told us this. The love of money and fornication is going to lead us into wickedness. Go ahead.
But even wise men among my sons shall they mock,
Right.
and shall cause the kingdom of Judah to be diminished.
So he said, listen, the wise men, you're going to talk down to them. You're going to call them crazy. You're going to call them foolish. And you're going to celebrate the foolish men of the community. Is that not what we see? Now, I'm not talking about our children in better day. I'm just talking about in general, okay? I don't want y'all to think we're talking about y'all. The average child, if I go to him and say, quote Travis Scott, quote Travis Drake, quote Cardi B, they can just, all right, now quote songs. What's that? Let's go through Deuteronomy. You think that's a coincidence that it happened that way? Judah, he warned us of this. He told us this was going to happen. What else did he say?
Which the Most High gave me because of my obedience to my father.
See that? He said the reason that I kept this kingship, the reason that Hamashiach was going to be born in my line is because I was obedient to my father. So what do you think has happened to us when we stop being obedient to our parents? Look at the community now. Once we change. Go ahead.
For I never caused grief to Jacob my father, for all things whatsoever he commanded I did.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac, the father of my father, blessed me to be king in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob further blessed me in the like manner. And I know that for me shall the kingdom be established.
Y'all see that? Chapter 18, verse 1.
And I know what evils you will do in the last days.
See, I know what evils you're going to do in the last days.
Beware, therefore, my children, of fornication
Right.
and the love of money. And hearken to Judah your father.
Right.
For these things will withdraw you from the law of the Most High.
These things will withdraw you from the law of the Most High. Why do you think, ladies and gentlemen, that they hate the law? That nobody wants to hear the law? Because if you're hearing this law week after week, you can't just be so easy in your sins. But look at what else he said.
And blind the inclination of the soul.
Right.
And teach arrogance.
And teach arrogance.
And suffer not a man to have compassion upon his neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
They rob his soul of all goodness.
Right.
And oppress him with tolls.
Right.
And troubles. And drive away sleep from him. And devour his flesh. And he hindereth the sacrifices of Yah. And he remembered not the blessing of Yah. He hearkened not to a prophet when he speaketh.
He hearkened not to a prophet when he speaks.
And resenteth the words of godliness.
And he resented all the words of godliness. Notice how when you go around your people and try to tell them that, man, I ain't want to hear that. That spirit of fornication, I don't want to hear that. Because that guilt gonna wear down on them. I gotta stay far away from the word of the Most High. Because it's gonna tell me that I am wrong. That's why they don't want to hear this law. That law is telling them, man, you judge me. I ain't write the law. How am I judging you? It ain't mine. How are you saying I'm judging you? That's why they don't want to hear it. That's why they want to be in a place where you can get hooped, holler, jump on bitches, and run around the pews. You can leave that place when it comes. You can sit in there comfortable. But when that law going forth telling you who you are, you cannot remain that way. That's why they want to hear all the time. Oh, yeah, you can be anything you want to be. You can be rich. You're going to get it. You're going to accomplish it. But never tell you what you need to do in order to accomplish it, in order to receive it. It's time out for being comfortable.
Yes.
Our father Judah told us this on his deathbed, and everything that he has said has come to pass. And if we're going to get out of this, there's only one out, and that's through the law. Watch this.
For he is a slave to two contrary passions and cannot obey Yah.
He said he can't obey Yah. It's impossible. And we're going to finish off in Romans 8 and show you that everything that he's saying here is truth. It's impossible to walk in the fornication, to walk in drunkenness, to walk in the love of money, and to do the things of the Most High. You can't do both. Go ahead.
Because they have blinded his soul,
Because they have blinded his soul,
and he walketh in the day as in the
and he
night.
walk in the day as of night. Chapter 19, we're going to be done. We'll go in Romans 8.
My children, the love of money leadeth to idolatry.
Mm-hmm.
Because when led astray through money, men name as gods those who are not God.
Read that again.
Yes.
Because when led astray through
When once
money,
they led us straight because of money,
men name as gods those who are not God.
y'all seeing this? That's why I took y'all to 1 Corinthians 8 in the beginning, for you to see. Yeah, there are many gods. There's only one Most High. But when you're chasing money, the gods of the Gentiles are going to be standing there saying, come talk to me. I got you. You're just going to have to sacrifice your child to Molech, but it's okay. I got you. Go ahead.
And it causeth him who is it to fall into madness.
Read that again.
And it causeth him who has
And
it
it causing him to have this money
to fall into
to
madness.
fall into madness. Go ahead.
For the sake of money, I lost my children.
I lost my children.
And had not my repentance and my humiliation and the prayers of my father been accepted, I should have died childless.
Are y'all saying this? It's because Jacob prayed for him. It's because he repented and changed. Without that, Judah would have died childless. And if Judah would have died childless, that means no us. That means no savior. Be all you can be, or come follow me. Judah was so focused on being all he could be, he wasn't following the Most High. And look at what it almost cost him. Look at what it almost cost us. That's what I need y'all to see. That it's more at stake here than your own lives. There's so many of our people that is waiting for us. And we're caught up in ourselves. We're going to destroy our own descendants. When they was running across 125th Street, they didn't know that their neighborhoods was be herring out eventually. When they were making $1 million a day, they didn't know what it was going to eventually cost us. When they were slinging pies and slinging rocks, they didn't know what eventually was going to cost us. When our brothers were tip drilling, they didn't know what it was going to eventually cost us. It's time to wake up. Go ahead.
But the Yah of my father
But the eye of my fathers
had mercy on
had
me,
mercy on me,
because I did it in anger.
right?
And the prince of deceit blinded me,
Mm.
and I sinned as a man, and as flesh, being corrupted through sin, and I learned my own weakness while thinking myself
And
invincible.
thinking myself was invincible. He had to realize he was not. But you don't have that luxury to say you did it in ignorance. You're hearing this today. Now, let's go to Romans 8 and let's finish this thing off. Be all you can be, or come follow me. Thus says the Most High. Romans 8. Start at verse 1, D.
There is therefore now no condemnation to them that are in Yeshua HaMashiach,
Right?
who are not after the flesh, but after the spirit.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there is no need for you to be condemned if you're walking in guilt anymore. If you're not walking in the flesh, but you're walking in the spirit. Right? Verse 2.
For the law of the spirit of life in Yeshua HaMashiach has made me free from the law of sin and death.
Y'all see that? Because Hamashiach has freed us from that root of sin that Adam put on us. You're free now. Go ahead.
But what the law could not do, it was weak through the flesh.
Right?
Yah sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh.
Right?
That the righteousness of the law
That the righteousness of the law
might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the
You
spirit.
see that? So now you have the Holy Spirit to empower you, to lead and guide you, that you don't have to do this on your own anymore. Judah was on his own. He didn't have the Holy Spirit. We have Hamashiach. We have the Holy Spirit. Right? Now, let's go down to verse 28.
And we know that all things work together for good to them that love Yah.
Now, we notice, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very popular verse that is quoted. But unfortunately, this whole verse is never quoted in its entirety. You just hear people say, we know all things work together for the good. Well, that's only part of it. Read that again. It says what?
We know that all things work together for good
Work together for good for who?
to them that love Yah.
Now, so that means if you don't love Yah, it ain't going to work for your purpose. It ain't going to work for your good. But how do we show that we love Yah? All you place there, get 1 John 5 and 3. Before you go there, go to 1 John 2. Let me put this out here. First John 2 and 4.
He that saith, I know him,
He that say he know the Most High
and keepeth not his
and
commandments,
keepeth not his commandments
is a liar,
is a what?
a liar,
Is a what?
a liar,
Uh-huh.
and the truth is not in him.
Thus says the Most High. So don't say that you know the Most High if you're not keeping the law, statute, commandments. Was that out of the book of Leviticus? What book is that? Chapter and verse.
1 John 2 and 4.
Go ahead.
And he that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar,
Uh-huh.
and the truth is not in him.
Y'all see that? So the Most High said, if you ain't keeping my commandments, you're a liar. You don't know me. Don't tell people you know me. You're lying. How do you show the love of the Most High? 1 John 5 and 3.
For this is the love of Yah,
This is the love of Yah,
that we keep his commandments.
that we do what?
Keep his commandments.
That we keep his commandments,
And his commandments are not
and his commandments are not grievous. So the love of Yah, ladies and gentlemen, is to keep the commandments. Not just saying, hey, I love him. You love him when you do what he says. Come. Back to Romans 8. Read that again, verse 28.
We know that all things work together for good to them that love Yah,
Right?
to them who are the called according to his purpose.
So if you're not walking in the purpose in which the Most High laid for your life, don't expect things to work out. So you got to love the Most High and you got to do what the Most High told you to do. This is how things work out for us. All right, verse 29.
For whom did he foreknew, he also did predestine to be conformed to the image of his son.
So all of those who he called to do a purpose, he called us to conform to the image of Hamashiach. Not the image of your elder, not the image of your mom or your dad, but the image of Hamashiach. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, on your job, in your communities, if they don't see Hamashiach when they see you, you're not in the truth. You just know that you're an Israelite. It's just a fact for you. It's not the truth. Because John 14 and 6 says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He's the truth. So unless you're submitted to him, you're not in truth. All right, go ahead.
That he might be the firstborn among many brethren.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, whom did he predestine, them he also called.
He also called.
And whom he called, them he also justified.
Uh-huh.
And whom he justified, them he also
Are
glorified.
y'all seeing this? So you've been prepared. You've been empowered. You have been given everything you need. Go ahead.
What shall we then say to these things?
Right.
If y'all be for us, who can be against us?
If y'all be for us, who can be against us? Nobody. No, not one. I got my sister back there. I should call it, get it to saying that Gas and Grove faded. No, not one. Right? Verse 32.
He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things?
Are y'all seeing this? If he gave us his son, you think he ain't gonna pay your light bill? You think he ain't gonna put food on your table? You think he ain't gonna heal your body? If he gave his son freely, that means he'll give you everything you need. You don't need to search the world for it. It's all in him. Right? Go ahead.
Who shall lay anything to the charge of y'all's elect?
Who's gonna lay anything to the charge of y'all's elect? You think Fauci can do it? You think Bill Gates can do it? Trump, Joe Biden, you think these guys can do that? Go ahead.
It is y'all that justify.
It is y'all that justify. We don't need their justification. We don't need their acknowledgement. We good. Go ahead.
Who is he that condemneth?
Right?
It is a Mashiach that died, yea, rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of Yah, who also maketh intercession for us.
You see that? Not only did he prepare us, he's also sitting at the right hand of the Most High, making intercession for us. He's praying for you right now, that everything that's being said resonates. Okay? You're not on your own. You're not fighting this battle by yourself. Go ahead.
Who shall separate us from the love of Hamashiach?
Who shall separate us from the love of Hamashiach?
Tribulation,